the next question was the advantages of Zoom versus Google Meet. And what are the pros and cons? Which do you prefer, Joanne? And all of that. So
I've been on this journey for a long time, as you guys know. I started off with Skype back in 2010, and it was Skype, and I think I stayed with that until like 2015. I tried Google Meet when it first came out, and still preferred Skype because some of my students struggled with being able to get Google Meets to work on their devices. And I would say that Google Meets probably is okay. Sometimes people invite me to a call when I do a podcast, and they'll have me go on Google Meets, and I feel like I'm in like a lost territory. I've gotten so accustomed to my Zoom and knowing exactly where everything is that all of a sudden I'm just like, oh, well, where do I go for this or where do I go for that? They don't have any of I don't know if they have any of the fun backgrounds or anything like that inside of Google Meet that I'm aware of. They didn't back in the day. So I would say the reason why a lot of people like Zoom is because of the fact that it does have the ability to share your screen, which so does Google Meet, but then it also has the ability to annotate on the screen. So annotate is kind of like having this piece of glass that goes over your screen, right? If I move the stuff underneath it, then my glass is going to stay there. But it does make it nice that I do have the ability to just annotate wherever I'm at. My student can annotate as well, so we can be writing at the same time on the screen. But if I do move the screen behind it, everything will move. So it's not like it stays there, but it still is a great resource, a great tool for them to be able to write on the screen, and you can easily erase it. It's kind of like having a dry erase board in a way, which is really nice, especially if you're doing math with a student. I a lot of times do like spot and dot with my students, and so they are drawing on my screen with the words and the books and all of that kind of stuff. So I like the ability to be able to do that with Zoom that I haven't seen done with Google Meet. I think the quality as well for the actual platform is better. So I don't get kicked out a lot of times. I mean, I'm having some issues with my computer right now, but that's completely different. But typically what happens, like when I was inside of Skype, it would actually make me leave the call and I would have to connect back with the client. What happens inside of Zoom is you get this little bit of a delay where somebody freezes, and instead of being kicked out, it just picks it right back up, and it's like you never left at all. And so it's less of a hiccup, less of a trouble. So I find that that's one feature of Zoom that is just ahead of some of the other providers that are out there. Plus, because of Zoom, during the pandemic, pretty much every parent now and child knows how to use Zoom. So it's not like they have to relearn it. Remember how I kind of said when I go on Google Meet, it kind of feels like I'm in a foreign land. I don't know where the different buttons are. Well, everybody has gotten so accustomed to Zoom these days that is not the issue, which makes it actually a positive. So those are the things that I like about Zoom. Anything else that you like about Zoom, Beth?
I love some of the fun features that they have added over the last few months. I mean, they're not strictly necessary for tutoring and things, but like the reactions, I don't know if it'll pop up on screen. Maybe somebody can let me know, but you can I know we've used these in webinars and things, but you can make little reactions and things like that. You can have a raise hand feature so that if you're in a group class and somebody has a question, they can raise their hand. Google Meet may have that. I truly don't know. I haven't looked into it too much. But I really like that on Zoom. Things like that are really nice about Zoom.
And I like the breakout rooms too. So I actually used that feature when I did a group class with my students, and I had them read the book that we were working on together. So it was like a group class I was doing, helping these 4 boys. And then I would actually it was 4 or 5 boys. So I would take one of the boys with me and I would read with them. And then I'd have the other sets of kids in a breakout room reading a book to each other. And I really like that because it gave me some one-on-one time still with some of my students, and it gave them still practice time to be able to read. And then I would be able to go on in, I'd be able to check on them and just see how things were going, if they got stuck or any of those kinds of problems. We were able to work them on out. But I really did like being able to do that. I love being able just to share my screen, and I can give them the controller. That's the other feature that I love, is I can just give them the controller, and now they can just do everything on my side. So regardless if they don't have access to that resource or that tool, they're still able to use what I want them to use on my side.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is a nice workaround where if it's blocked on their side, you can have them use it on your side. That's awesome.